Welcome, 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 beautiful soul, to Next Evolution, the podcast where together we go deeper into what does it mean to co-create together the next evolutionary step. And in my vision, life purpose is such a key element that we cannot avoid. We need to go and delve deep into who are you? Who are you meant to become? Who is your soul coming to embody, to incarnate? What did you come to learn and to share with the world? In this episode, I have my friend Andrea Buron, and we will journey into what purpose is. It is not the end goal of the purpose, it is how you journey it that will make you become your greatest self. During the whole episode, we will be sharing ideas, tips on how to start creating and grounding your life purpose. And at the end of the episode, I will share a meditation I created just for you today, so you can integrate the whole episode into 20 minutes of deep meditation and connection with your highest self, with your highest purpose, with your greatest self and who you are meant to be, so you can really live a fulfilling life. Enjoy this episode. I'm setting this intention for the sacred space, sacred ground of this episode of Next Evolution. Wishing truth, radical honesty, purpose to guide us in this conversation. May the light of the heart, of the spirit guide us, so it helps people, it inspires, it awakens, it ignites. And may we go where we haven't gone before, so we share our deepest truth.
I just would add, Infinite Spirit, please open the ways for the divine design of my life to manifest right here and right now. As a mantra for everyone who is listening, who will listen in the future, so we can be guided by our hearts for our highest purpose.
Aho, welcome Andrea Buron. Thank you so much for opening yourself up to this Next Evolution podcast episode, where heart meets mind, where we want to explore who we are in the depth of consciousness, of contribution to a more healthy, more beautiful world that our heart knows is possible. Welcome and thank you for being here, Andrea. I want to introduce why I invited Andrea to this episode on purpose, which is a theme that is so important for me, for my life, because on my path 15, 17 years ago, organizing an event in Chile called Aconcagua Summit, bringing leaders together. The idea was, hey, let's put words onto our purpose. And from then on, 2011 it was, so 14 years ago, I have clarity on my purpose, more or less. And I keep on transforming it, on going deeper into it. So let's say for 15 years, it's been, I help people achieve their dreams, I help people grow and be conscious, and I worked with companies. And this past year has been a very intense year of transformation for me. And I let go of what my life purpose was, and really wanting to go as deep as it is possible and to align it as beautifully as possible to my soul purpose of the really, why am I here and what did I come to learn on this planet, on this beautiful earth, on this heart school that earth is. And that made me re-encounter path with you, Andrea. You are a purposeologist, so you dedicate your life to teaching people, to helping people, to healing, to writing, to communicating. And purpose is, I would say, a center or one of the main pillar of what you do. You have a podcast about purpose and in the city. And so we had a session. We had a session for you to help me go into my soul purpose. And I was heart and mind blown by your technique, by your methodology of receiving information, channeling, feeling, being very intuitive, using cards, and telling me who I am in the depth and what I came to learn. And everything that you told me was just 100% aligned and true and felt true. And I want to go deeper into that. How did life purpose become important for you? How did you end up creating a methodology that is so beautiful, so impactful? Let's go deep into life purpose today.
Let's do it, baby. I think life is just so perfect. Everything's so aligned. I don't know if I told you this, but I want to tell this story because I met this guy as I was driving through to visit my friend who was injured. And this is Veronica, who you met at Aconcagua Summit. And I met 10 years after that, as we brought, I forgot this, Your Soul's plan writer. What's his name? Robert Schwartz. And I met her there. And I wanted to quit producing events. I was tired. I wanted to just dedicate to healing, writing, communicating. And she's, no, I'm a producer. You can count on me. We can do it together. I'm like, no, just do it yourself. And she's, no, we'll do it together or we don't do it at all. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then we invited Neil Donald Walsh to Chile for some workshops. And we became friends. And when I was driving to her house that day we met, the voice that talks to me says, you have to hang out more with gringos, which is the word we use for foreigners here in Chile. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I used to hang a lot around because I lived in New Zealand and was related to the exchange program I worked with. And then this gringo passes in front of me. I'm like, okay, I really have to do this. And then there was like a big bus in the middle of the way. So it took 2 minutes for me to get to the next corner. And there goes this gringo again to the other side. I'm like, okay, I really have to hang around with these gringos. And then I go further, and the same gringo is in the entrance of my friend's place. And he's, oh, I'm going to see Veronica Parterie. And I'm like, oh, he's coming to the same place. Hey, you want to ride? And then we start talking. And that comes from a very conversations I've had with God since I was a little kid, because I had depression since I was very young. Like I started asking myself these deep questions when I was 8 years old. I was looking at the stars and what am I doing here? You guys got it all wrong. Take me out from here. This is the wrong planet for me. Please take me away. I don't belong here. And when you start that you don't belong here, it's because you don't feel part of something. You don't find purpose. There's no meaning. What's the point of this? It doesn't make any sense. So life didn't make any sense for me. And the first teachings I got from finding or trying to find purpose and make sense out of life is that we all can transform our biggest pains into purpose. So you'll find that there's lots of people who have been depressed, who are afterwards working with people in therapy, healing, or they study psychology because they want to understand themselves and help others. There's people who were addicted and now they work in clinics and helping people in going through their addictions. In my case, it was the lack of meaning who pushed me towards finding meaning, towards making sense, because this was crazy for me. I was watching the news and this, like, what is this? I was relating with people. I'm like, where's love? Where's compassion? Where's all the divine virtues? Where's that? I want to find it. So I start plating myself when I was 12. Instead of hanging around with the people at school, I used to go to the small church that we had at my school, and I would pray. I would put myself on my knees, and I'm like, God, please help me. I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. And I start having these conversations with God and Jesus. And at some point, he started answering back at me. And I could hear this voice inside of my head, of course, not outside. And he would say pretty reasonable things, or very reasonable things. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. So I started to understand things that most people my age wouldn't even think about life and religions, relationships, and service, which is the main pillar, as you said before, of purpose. At that age, I was 12, I started going to missions. I don't know if that's the correct word for it. Outside in the countryside, I started going out in the streets to give food and a conversation to people who was living on the streets. And I found that even if I was very sad or depressed, that I still had a lot to give. And we all do. So when you start working with people and you guide them to realize that even if they've had really tough lives, a lot of suffering, pain, they still have a lot of love and many other things to give. And those things, they're given to the world as a service, is their purpose. That would be like the summary of purpose. We are all here for a reason, and we have a main purpose, like a highest purpose, a higher power, as the song. And that it is to remember who we are, that we are one, the oneness. Neil Donald Walsh says something it just blew my mind when I first heard it, and many other people say it as well, is that if we all remember who we are, in essence, who we really are, we wouldn't allow any more children to die in this world. We wouldn't allow the wars. We wouldn't allow suffering in any kind, in any forms. So our main purpose is that for everyone. How we do that in our individual lives, that's what we need to have these conversations with what we did in your session, talk about the gift you specifically have, because the purpose is codified in our genetics. So we have to start to understand what I'm bringing, what I have, what has been given to me by just because I was born, but also what I can develop from my pain, from my past.
So
and everything.
Let's press pause for a second on all those thoughts. And I want to come back to a few things that you said. And I think you defined beautifully well what spirituality is. Spirituality is a sense of meaning. My life has a meaning. And I wake up for a reason. I go somewhere during the day, work, family, whatever I decide to do. It feels that yes, it's like a yes. It's a big yes to life, to yes. So this sense of meaning that people can have or not have is what I would define as what is spirituality. When some people will say, yeah, it's having a religion, yeah, it's having a path, yeah, it's having practices that help you connect, feel whole. In any case, it's this ability to feel my life has a meaning, my life is yes to life. And not saying, no, I'm not from here, I should go to another planet. And I'm like, no, I'm here. Yes, for some strange reason, I'm here. And let's find this reason. And that's about remembering. Okay, so I need to remember who I am. And if I stay very intellectual on that idea, it's hard to grasp because, well, I'm David, I'm a man, I'm Swiss, Czech, I travel, so if I stay in the ego or in the masks that I have worn into my life, or the tags that I put, tag names and tags that who I am, and I know, in a way, I know who I am if I stay and I define myself with those name tags that I know. So it's about how can I let go of those certainties and those tags that I know that I have, that I'm blonde and whatever. And okay, so I need to remember something deeper than that. And it has to do with meaning. It has to do with spirituality, I believe. It has to do with soul. It has to do with being open to something greater. That, wow, my life has a greater purpose. I do come with an individual, unique story. My parents have been together all their life, or my parents have separated, or I was married, or I was never married and I never wanted. All those stories that make us who we learn to be or who we became, they hide those gems and those treasures of the pain, and the challenges give us our greatest strength. And this is where we need to go, like in the pain, so we can find those at our gifts to the service. And what you said, that you would hear a voice and it sent you to give food on missions, and how can we hear this voice? How can our mind, my mind, so powerful and thinking, how do you distinguish a voice that is not yours, that is maybe wiser, deeper, more aligned, more in tune with your greater meaning of life, to take new actions?
What a great question. It's not so easy because we're not so used to listen ourselves in the first place. We're programmed to hear someone else's voice. So what society has to say that I should do, that I should be, what my parents, what school, what whatever. The first thing we have to do is to listen ourselves. And not only listen, because I can hear my inner voice, I can hear my soul, my heart saying, hey, Andrea, you have to do this, or take this way, or study this, or talk to this gringo. Because I can listen that, and maybe I'll be a rebel, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do anything of what I say or what I feel, where I intuitively feel. I'm gonna be like a rebel all my life, and I don't do anything of what I'm hearing or feeling that I should do. So the first thing would be to be obedient to that inner voice, to follow my heart, to follow that inner call, that thing that is like a flame within my soul. I have to listen to that, because when intuition, we all have intuition, and the channeling process is what would that the word would be, refinamiento, where that you the
To refine, to
refine,
distill.
Thank you. My English is not
It's
so good.
wonderful.
I don't practice so often. That process we do with intuition would be channeling. And then I can start giving permission to the greatest purpose that is codified for me or meant to be, to flow. Because if I'm saying no all the time, no, I don't want to follow my heart, this is my, I'm crazy, this voice inside of me, whatever, then I'm not allowing myself and I'm not saying yes to life, as you said before. If I don't start saying yes to life, yes to myself, to my inner call, then that voice will not have like a space and time to grow within myself. So the first thing is say yes to my intuition. And then when we start getting more detailed about that process, you start playing. Like, this is not a serious issue. It's playing. What would that voice say? Oh, this make sense to me? Do I feel peacefully with this answer? Because if I don't feel comfortable, if I don't feel peace, if I'm feeling fear, or or it connects me with my ego, then I would say this is my mind talking. Mind is always cheating on us, trying to take us to other areas. I have a protocol. There are 7 questions, and it has to be this thing I'm feeling or thinking, channeling, intuitively sensing. Does it connect me with my higher purpose? Does it take me away from that path that I have chosen? Does it connect me with God? Does it make me feel separate from the others? Or does it take me to the oneness consciousness? Does it make me feel fearful, connect with all my fears? Does it make me feel superior, or the opposite? So all those things I would say, therefore they come from the ego, from my mind. I'm not really channeling this. What leads me to God, to divine, to higher purpose, to oneness consciousness, to love, to peace, to contributing, to finding my value, the gift I have inside, and so I can feel pushed to give that away as a gift for humanity. Because it's also selfish to have a gift and not share it with everyone. Many people say, oh, who I am to do this, to talk about purpose, or to create a company, or to whatever. But we're also being selfish. We are not giving the world what we are meant to give. So those are the first questions, these protocols. And then, just so I can say this and we can talk about it, this voice, when you start channeling, when you're practicing a lot, there's a point, you get to a point when it says things your mind wouldn't have thought, things you wouldn't have said to yourself, things that just, whoa. One of the first things that I heard that blew my heart and my mind, I was talking to Jesus, and because I've always been the person who is loving God or divine or Jesus or masters. And you are my love. He says to me this. And I'm like, what? I wouldn't have thought that, because I love him. But him saying, you are my love, blew my mind. Mm-hmm. Then I said, I wouldn't have said that myself. Okay. And many other things. So when you get to that point, you can start being more, or going deeper in that process of distillation of the process of channeling. And you have different ways of channeling. There's people who see, like I see, I close my eyes and I'm like blah, 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 going crazy. I have to translate those images so they make sense. The first things I would see when I was like younger, it was blue, and I'm like, what are you feeling? People asking me, I'm just seeing a lot of things blue, and then I'm like, oh, I'm feeling blue, I'm feeling sad. Okay, so this is codified in my mind and in my language, so I can understand if I'm seeing something that is blue, I can do and I can create a story based on that.
Hi there. Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm just taking the advantage, the opportunity to do a short break, to breathe in, to connect with your heart, with your highest purpose. And right now with Andrea, we've been talking about intuition and those voices that connect us, that bring us closer to who we are and what we are meant to be doing, and other voices from our mind, from our egos, that take us further, that separate us from the rest, from humanity, from our purpose. And I just want to invite you to do a short reflection on what are those repetitive ideas that you've been having, maybe lately, recently, or for a long time, those thoughts, those ideas that keep on coming to you. And for some determined reasons, you decided not to act upon it. So I want to invite you to reflect and feel deeply. Do these ideas bring you closer to your heart, to others, to a mystical, beautiful life? Or do those ideas make you feel more alone, disconnected? Maybe you've been thinking about quitting your job and starting something new, an entrepreneurship, a startup, or a creative activity. Maybe you've been thinking about traveling. And do that own journaling reflection onto where will this idea, this thought take me? Closer, more connected, more loving, or more alone, more separate? Do this inner work. Get more tuned with your intuitive voices, with the voice of wisdom inside, and to be able to differentiate from your voices of the ego and the fear. Enjoy this exercise. We will start again our podcast now. I'm gonna enter here to add that you are a very sensitive human being. You have capacities that we normal people, we not necessarily have developed yet, but we can all have access to that sensitivities. Yeah. And it's like people who say, yeah, I'm extra sensitive. I have this, almost now it's seen as an illness. I'm too sensitive. And I believe we all are so extremely sensitive. We all have capacity to tune into who is feeling what around us and to foresee events, but we just blocked it. We blocked it all because it's scary, because of our stories, how we grew up, how society and schools and who told us what to believe in, how to believe in, thinking that we all have this capacity, but we need to dig into it, to discover it, to explore it. And also understanding that you created a protocol, you created a methodology to go within. I want to touch the theme of fear, because when I don't fully embody who I am, when I don't go deeper into what is the real meaning of my life, when I don't do those things, it's because of fear, because I fear it's going to change my life. I fear it's going to be painful. I fear touching emotions that I do not want to feel. So I create a reality that is comfortable around me, that I can control. I control the outcomes. I control my job, my relationships, or when I have that in control, and I'm okay with it, it's okay. Yeah, my life is okay. I have all this. If I don't go deeper to find those greatest gifts that everyone has, and if I don't do that, it's because something is. So, but also when I decide to face this fear and those challenges, and I want to go deeper, also it brings up more fears, I feel, because I'm willing to see it, I'm willing to feel it, and it's going to go deeper layer of fear facing and encountering, developing new tools, new ways. So how can we, someone who is listening to us, who has a comfortable life, who has a, and don't want to challenge too much, but is interested to okay, there is something greater, deeper, how would you recommend to step forward, to be okay with facing those challenges and fears?
I think we have two kind of fears. I would say that I'm going to say it in Spanish, and you can help me with the translation of that, because for me is el miedo de separación y el miedo de superación, which sounds pretty familiar. So there's one kind of fears that make us feel separated from the rest. So it takes us really away from the oneness consciousness. And the fear of superación.
To maybe either overcome or to achieve, to overcome, to succeed in.
Yeah, it makes us, it pushes us to overcome something that is that we want to do, but because of the ego, we say, who am I to do this, to say this, to write this, to have a podcast, to write a book, to create a company or whatever. If this fear that I'm feeling makes me feel separated from God, from the divine, from the others, I would say leave it behind, because it probably is just the mind and it's the ego. So we don't want that. But I can face and embrace and go through the other kind of fears, the one that makes me become more of myself. I don't need to become the best version of myself in the way that the best version of myself is not in the future, and purpose is never in the future, it's always in the present. I have to come who I am. So the purpose is being you. In order to be you, you have to go through these fears and find yourself doing what makes you feel alive. Mm-hmm. So every time you are feeling, I was born to do this, I could do this for the rest of my life, even if they didn't pay me. Every time you say, oh, it's been like 5 minutes and it's been 5 hours. And the hardest question I always do is, what Nobel Prize would they give you? What is your mastery level? In which area are you mastering something or achieving something that you would win a Nobel Prize, not one that exists, but other, for creativity, for singing, for peeling an apple, so it doesn't, whatever. So there's something about that is calling you, and you're like, I really want to do this, but I am afraid. If I'm afraid of something that would make your relationships, the world, the companies, or anything better, that is a fear you need to go through. Knowing, and that's why we need to have practices, routines of overcoming those fears, because it's just the mindset, the beliefs we have that we are not enough, that who I am. When you start thinking, okay, do you believe in God? Most people would say yes, divine, the name you want to give. People say yes. And do you believe in yourself? People say, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, no. So if you believe in God, you have to believe in yourself, because it's the same. God is within you. Divine is within you. and it's there for a reason, to inspire you, to move you, to guide you and push you through your fears. So if this fear that I feel, in order to answer your question, if this fear you fear is making me becoming more myself, not the best version in the future, but the real me, my essence, then it's a positive fear. I don't know how to say it properly, but it's something you can take. You want to go through it and you'll find peace behind that. We have to learn how to feel our feelings so they don't take over us. So we are not gobernados.
Guided, led by
Thank you.
our fears.
So we can understand this. There's probably many others, but this is the two ones I work with more frequently. And then I can say, okay, I have fear. I don't want to do this. I'm very nervous about having a podcast or a live, Instagram live, so I can share with people how I went through something. But if I think, how many can I help? How many people can I help? How many people can feel inspired or moved or touched by their solution I found for my pain, for my suffering? Then I have to share it because I have a recipe. And the other people have to find their own recipe, but they can be inspired by you and they can be touched by you. The people you feel inspired the most in life, they have everything to do about you, about your purpose. Something about them that is within you. So you have to remove all these obstacles, all these fears, in order to become what you're meant to become, and give that. Because if you don't give it, you'll never feel that self-realization.
I feel that when you say who we are meant to become, I feel it as a whispering inside, my life purpose, who I am and who I am meant to become, which kind of is the same, because it's this whisper of the soul, the whispering of life that tells me, hey, David, Andrea, do this, go there. And this whispering will always whisper, I feel. We can completely try to block it. So our mind, our ego will say no, for fear, for all those reasons that we've been talking about. But it's going to keep on talking. Hey, this is who you are. This is who you are. Do this. Invite this. Contribute that. And if we don't listen, at some point it might hit on the head, or you might have a fall and fall on your hand, as it has happened recently. Or some friends who fall on their heads or have accidents or illnesses. And how to integrate those callings from the soul, that we cannot avoid it. In a way, we are meant to become and to be who we are meant to be. And
that is who we already are. It's not who are it's tricky because we say you have to become like it was in the future, but it's discover who already you are. That is to become. It's to be what you already are. You don't have to be anything else. You are already enough. There's already everything. It's okay about you. You are the purpose of your life. You're the biggest project of your life. Not your small you, the human you, but the divine you, the human that is living aligned with divinity, who is embracing, accepting, and surrendering to the fact that God is within us, inside here, wanting to love, wanting to teach and expand only love. So it's just love. How that consciousness is gonna transform into a service or a product. That's like the personal or the external purpose. We have an inner purpose and external purpose. Inner purpose is most pretty much the same for everyone, but external, so the way I communicate that purpose to the world in a service, in a product, in a choice, that's going to be different for you, for me, for everyone else. But we need to be brave. We need to be courageous. Most of us are not. We are like stopped by society. No, just be like the rest of us. Be what they said that you should be and do and say and act.
My dear listeners, I hope you are enjoying this conversation. And if you want to take that interview about soul, purpose, about intuition, about listening who you are meant to be and become, and really finding your own power, truth, I want to invite you on a very special journey. This is the second edition of the Soul Quest retreat in Turkey, where for 1 week at the end of April 2025, we go to Göbekli Tepe, one of the stargate of this planet, where we will ground our energy but also propulse it to the sky, connect with our soul tribe and with our star links, and then we will travel to Cappadocia, in the famous caves that hosted thousands and thousands of spiritual people meditating, praying, and we will use that energy to go deeper and align with our soul purpose. We will use ancient technologies and modern, like breath work, ecstatic dance, shamanic rituals, rapé, blue lotus ceremonies. We will dance with the dervishes. We will fly high on a hot air balloon, sunrise ceremony. We will eat delicious Turkish food. It will be an inner and outer journey of exploration and transformation, so you can come out of this week and this retreat more aligned, more in tune, more intuitive, more at peace, and more in awe with your life. If you feel a call, if it resonates with you, you are very welcome to follow the link and check soulquest.life/Turkey and use the coupon friends to get a $200 discount. Now let's get back to our interview. So you said we have an inner purpose, we have an outer purpose. We have different purposes, and I know in your model you develop all those purposes. Can you tell us which or how many purposes do we have? If there is a hierarchy into someone who starting to be interested into, what is my life purpose? Or someone who has done a lot of inner work. How can you help those people understand where they're at? What's the next step with all those purposes?
Yeah. So we don't want people to be like overwhelmed by all these purposes. And I'm like, this is so complex. And many people are talking or asking me when they listen about purpose, it's like, this is so difficult. This is so hard. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard to find your purpose, or to convince that what you already knew was your truth, actually, because you don't have to go far to find your purpose. You just have to listen to your heart, like the song, Roxette's song. Listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart.
When he's calling for you. Okay, that's it. If we have to resume what is purpose, listen to your heart. That's all. Then we can do a little more detailed thing, like we did in different areas, and then we can say, okay, there's 7 levels, and most people start asking about purpose when they are feeling pissed off at their jobs, when they want to quit and they want to move away from their countries or find a new couple or whatever. It's like when we are not satisfied with our lives, we start asking those questions. We enter the crisis, and they're just trampolines for through and towards purpose. Okay? So that is perfect. It's an option we can consciously choose in order to grow, to learn, to expand ourselves, our possibilities. We are infinite. We have potential that is, whoa, if we just knew. But we don't know, or we don't let that happen. And after that, after the crisis, people is saying, okay, how do I become a happy person? I want to be happy. I want to find happiness. Purpose and happiness are the same thing. So purpose show us how to become that happy person, how to find happiness beyond circumstances. Because there's always going to be things happening, war, crisis, financial issues, whatever. How do I get to be happy beyond that? And most people get to the first question is like, where should I work at? Is this the right job for me? So normally people, when they're coming to ask for purpose, they're trying to find their labor purpose, their vocational purpose.
Their next job, what the heck am I going to do now? What kind of job do I want to look for?
Exactly. And that's the first step. If we have a pyramid, that would be the basis. Like if I'm happy doing what I do every day on a daily basis, I can have enough space and time and a self-regulated nervous system, so I can embrace something bigger that is already in there, that is not in the future. Again, that can emerge from being present, from being devoted to, forgot the word, atestiguar.
To be to witness.
To witness, thank you, the presence, the present moment. And then everything comes easily. Then when we are present, we can find our purpose like this. Now, our vocational purpose, our mind purpose, our emotional purpose, our soul purpose, those are the 4 individual purposes. And then we have the collective. So there's a family purpose, why I was born in this family, with these ancestors that I inherited all these patrons and stuff and this history, the life I lived. Then there's a biggest collective purpose. Why in this city? It's not the same purpose. Even if I'm in the same country, we don't have here in Santiago, in Chile, the same purpose as a city, as citizens of Santiago, as the ones who are in Punta Arenas or in Arica, in the north, desert. And then we have a world. Why are we alive now in this planet as humankind? We have a purpose. Why not 100 years ago or 500 or 5,000? Right now we have a purpose. And then we can go further than that. I don't know if you want me to say that.
I think, and I want to share a bit of my experience being working with you or being channeled with you, and all those different purposes. So you mentioned the family purpose, and for some people in life, they will say, my purpose is the happiness of my family. And I think it's beautiful to go deeper. And what you had told me was, David, you came to heal sexuality and the fear of men to speak, communicate consciously in your family. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I've been working for the past 15 years. So it was. And so we come with a family purpose. In my family, I came to transform, to learn, to grow this aspect. And then in my work, I came to share, grow, learn that aspect. And then in my mind, I came to experience, embody this. And then in my emotions, I came to learn. And so having those I see them as feet that kind of interconnect, like a Venn diagram where this is the purpose and there are things that connect all of them to go in the center where let your heart speak. Listen to your heart. It's like a heart in the center and then other circles. And I like how we can define, okay, so my life purpose is basically it's happiness. If I'm happy, my life purpose is fulfilled. And basically it's also spirituality, because if I have meaning, I'm a spiritual being and I have purpose and I'm happy, whatever happens outside, wars, challenges, anything, I can be in that place of, wow, yes to life. My life has meaning, has purpose, and I want to. And I think it's a beautiful invitation to live and to experience our genius. When I look at Leonardo da Vinci or Robert Grant nowadays, it's wow, those people are so inspiring because they connect so many different learnings, so many layers of the soul, of the being, of the experience of being human, and math and science and emotions and spiritual. It's like when we embody it all, when we accept that we are all geniuses of something, my purpose is to be the genius of my life, of something that is totally unique, and I came to serve it and help others with that. And maybe it's through a company, maybe it's through service, social work, maybe it's through being a lawyer, maybe it's through being a dancer. It doesn't matter, but it's really about, okay, so let's embody our geniuses. How can I, you, we, how can we embody our genius today? Would you like to share a tool, something to help people go deeper into that?
Well, I think the first thing is what we were just saying before. It's like asking myself these questions. What were you doing the last time you claimed, I was born for this? What were you doing? Where were you at when you felt that, oh, this is it? I don't need anything else in my life. That's it. Like I could die now and everything would be just fine. That's a reasonable, for me, thermometer.
Thermometer.
Thank you. So I can measure my level of my sense of fulfillment and self-realization. Asking myself, what would I do for the rest of my life if I didn't get paid? What is that thing I can do with that level of mastery that I would win a Nobel Prize? Yeah. What am I doing every time I felt it was 5 minutes and it was 5 hours or 5 days? And I was like, time just flew. So all those things relate to our passion. We would say like the ikigai.
Like those are very intellectual questions and very important questions. I think what I would like to see is if there is any more energetic, emotional exercise that we can either meditate, tune into, that helps us not only from the mind, but from our integral being.
What I do, it's an integrated method. So it's 4 parts. The first part are the questions from my mind. These questions I share, I can think or reflect on my biography, what it hurt, my sufferings, my big traumas. Everything has a meaning, has a purpose. So that's one first part. The second, it is what has been given from the date of my birth. So astrology, so Chinese horoscope, Maya, my archetypes from the tarot, numerology, everything that I can.
Human design,
everything information I can get from my birth. That's another part, the second part. The third part comes from personality, like all the tests you can do, like if I'm visual or sensitive, or am I in my Enneagram, I'm Ayurvedic tests. So I can see if I'm Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. All that comes from my things that I already came within me that I'm not aware of. It just happens to me. And I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, I hate sun because sun's awful. I must be a vampire. I'm like, no, just do the Ayurvedic test and you'll see your Pitta. You're not meant to be all day sunbathing because obviously there's a lot of fire within you. You have to use that. If you channel the fire within you in the right way, you won't feel so overwhelmed every time you're sunbathing. But seriously, you're not here to be Baywatch people. You're definitely not going to be Baywatch. That's not going to be your work purpose, your job purpose if you're Pitta. So those are things you have. Our purpose is like a puzzle. We have to integrate all our parts. So a life with purpose is a life who has balance within all its parts, the mental, the emotional, soul, social, everything. And the fourth part of this purpose diagram that I work with would be the channeled part, the mystic, the magic, that is all the information you can get when you meditate, when you're doing your breath work, when you're dancing, and you enter expanded levels of consciousness. If you work with power plant, I don't know how to say that in English.
Yeah, plant medicine, power
Medicine plant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you everything that you can do that is related to somatic issue, to somatic worth. So your body is talking, your soul is talking, is revealing information for you. You can also see that you can read the tarot, you can do oracles, you can do Akashic register, you can do channeling, you can do shamanic trips with your drum. You can dance, you can do so many things. But that's one part that most of the time helps us discover and understand the more mystic power that we have in here, but it doesn't necessarily guide us through the dream job or the dream house or the dream something. Sometimes we need to integrate everything like a puzzle, find the balance within that, and all our parts dancing balanced in harmony are our purpose, or is our purpose. All the inner purpose added to my external purpose, my ikigai with my shimei, my inner call, that I can feel an inner call, and when I'm 20 years old, that is going to be expressed and revealed to the world with some shape that is going to change through the years. Because purpose is like the menu of a restaurant. You first have a call, like, oh, I want to have a restaurant. So you start a restaurant and you have a 40 meals menu. And then you see life shows you that people only want 5 of those meals. And you're like, oh, yeah, what about the others? Oh, they were there for you to see the contraste?
The contrast.
The contrast of it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, that was its purpose. So I could say, okay, this is going to be a vegetarian restaurant, not international food, because people only want vegetarian plates. And then I start doing that, goes really well, and then comes a pandemic. And I'm like, oh, I have to close. It's all my invention. What am I going to do? I thought this was my purpose. No, that was a part and a period, because there's 3 stages for purpose. Okay?
Stages and layers and depth. A purpose can can be fulfilled after a few years, after 6 months, after 2 years. The purpose can be like, okay, this is done. And so what is the next? What is the deeper layer of the purpose? So it's also accepting. It's accepting that those purposes that are maybe more on the more superficial, not the depth of the soul, but we fulfill them and we feel like, okay, this is done, then what's next? And accepting this uncertainty that I can change my purpose, and maybe it's more mental, maybe it's more professional, but accepting that, okay, it's time to let go and it's time to open myself for the new to come on. And now I'm remembering a friend who was saying, my ego wants to be a millionaire and have a beautiful life of travel and amazing. And my soul wants to serve and contribute. What recommendation can you give someone like that?
Purpose is a path. It's not a goal. It's not what you get it's not what's gonna be happening in your life when you achieve your goals, your dreams. Is what happens in the path, in the presence, always in the present. So you know where you're going, the vision you have, but it's to be present, to listening your heart, and accepting, surrendering to that inner call, not from the ego, but from the inner call, and finding all the really self-realization, all the fulfillment, the happiness that comes from it, will show him, her, whoever, the big yes you were talking about at the beginning. But you have to try, and it's part of the trip to follow the ego in order to find that wasn't it. There comes to a point where you say, oh, this is not it. And then you come back to yourself again and say, okay, now this is the right time for me to serve, to contribute. And I'm going to do it in this way, as a filmmaker, as a lawyer, as a, I don't know, salvando whales in the sea, or offering what are the solutions I found for my suffering to others. And some people won't even feel that calling. There's people who are never going to ask, who am I? What am I here for? Where are we going? What's next? And that's perfect.
And why do you think some people don't ask themselves those so important questions? Why their software does not come with the 0101 question mark about life?
I think if we start looking at the levels, and I work a lot with A Course of Miracles, there's 2 levels. Okay, so in one level here, we are separated and the others are others. In the other level, where we are all one, the others don't really exist. They're just a projection from within. If we see it from there, what part of me, I have to ask myself, what part of me is not interested in knowing who she is, who I am? And then I could find all the answers. But there's also many answers that this level of consciousness I have that don't allow the answers to come. I was fighting with God most of my life. And one day I was laying on the grass and I'm like, why? Like Sheldon in the
young Sheldon.
Why? Yeah. And so God talks to me and you see that bag? There's a small bag walking. I'm like, okay, explain the bag, this small, that she's an ant, not a bag, an ant. Explain her that she's in a park. That park is in a city. The city is in a country, continent. in a world, in a planet that is in a galaxy, that is in a universe, and probably in multiverses. Can you explain that to the ant? And I'm like, no, neither can I. Your level of consciousness wouldn't understand the mystery. So sometimes we just have to surrender to mystery and say, okay, some parts of my purpose, the divine purpose, the collective purpose, I can understand, and many other parts, my level of consciousness won't get it. Even if I was talking to the ant, doesn't have the consciousness because it has a small one, yeah? And also, she doesn't speak the same language. She talks entfully, and something. She doesn't speak Spanish. I can say, hey, and your purpose is this. And she's like, oh, you're studying Chinese for me. I won't get it. Even if she had the consciousness.
Yeah.
So for me, that day was like, oh my God, I've been fighting for nothing. I just have to surrender to present, to what life is showing me. I have to say yes, like the movie, and start following my heart and cope the best I can with some things. And if I have the answer or not, many of the answers we won't get them. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's part of the mystery also.
It's so funny you just mentioned the Yes movie with Jim Carrey. I just watched it a few days ago in the plane, and I laughed because being able to fully say yes is a beautiful act of courage and an act of embodying, of living, of wanting to grow and expand and wanting to live every day. And I want to share the prayer and meditation I do every day right now. It's the best I can ask for, the best I can desire for is to be really, truly aligned with my highest self. If I imagine the divine, God, the universe, like a sphere, and everything, everyone, is included in that. All is there. And then there is a smaller circle, and that could be my higher self that is completely connected with the divine. But it's a product of, it came out of. And within that circle of higher self, there's a smaller circle. That's me. That's so I am included in all of them, the higher self and the divine, but yet I am also individualized and separated. And I have the illusion of separation because I am all. I am the drop in the ocean. So the best I can wish for and ask for is to really feel the voice, to hear the voice, to feel the push, to hear the whisper of my highest self, to be aligned with my soul purpose. And I think that's what I want to close with, and maybe share your last thought on ID, recommendation on, okay, let's be this.
You know, The Little Prince, the book. So the little prince is in his planet and he has a rose and he has these volcanoes that pissed him off. And the rose also is pissing him off because she's very demanding. And he's, I just want to run away. And he leaves his planet in order to meet many people who will show him something that he wasn't conscious before, until he gets to planet Earth and meets the fox and the other roses. And he's, oh my gosh, there's so many of them, but none of you, he says, none of you is like my rose. She's unique because to all the reasons. And then he decided to go back to his planet. The path of purpose is the same for most of us. We are never satisfied We are always wanting more, becoming the best, but when we enter the consciousness of surrendering to what already is, the presence within, the I am consciousness, we don't need to go away from our planet, so we can be grateful for we already are, for what we already have. We've always been there. We just are not conscious about that. So if we see the little prince and we say, okay, I don't want to do all that trip to go so far away, we need to surrender and be grateful for what we already have and are and do. So we don't need to change. We don't need to move very far away from out to another country or to change husband or wives or jobs. We have to appreciate our rose, our volcanoes, our small planet that has how many sunsets did he have in his planet? I can 20 a day, I don't know. Oh, so if we do that, I think people who is grateful are the people who less need to find purpose because they already find it in every moment, in every act, in every relation, in every moment. I'm so grateful for this. What would be another meaning than enjoying, than expanding love, than teaching love? That's all it. That's it. All the rest is just the mind who needs to understand. Okay, we can give the mind what it needs. But if we don't want to do that, we can just be the rebel little prince who refuses to go away from his planet and accept, like deeply, that he has already, he needs to be happy, to fulfill his purpose, the one within and the external one also.
Beautiful invitation to feel appreciation, gratitude for life, for what we experience, the highest highs and the lowest lows. They are all part of this beautiful journey of being human and being on Earth. And Earth is a heart school. And Earth and heart has the same letters, it's the same word, different order. So the Earth is a heart school. We came to learn to love, to share, to contribute, to say thank you. Andrea Buron, where can people find you and connect with you?
Just my name. It's not common name, so if you Google Andrea Buron, you'll find me. I'm in Instagram, Andrea Buron, in LinkedIn, Facebook, I have my web page, andreaburon.cl. It's a Chilean website. It's all written in Spanish so far, my books and my podcast. So this will be the first English thing I'm doing, but we're getting there. We're working at it so we can expand more this more integrative vision of what purpose is. It's not only the Ikigai, it's not only the Simon Sinek, the Aaron Hart's purpose economy. All that contributes a lot. But if we want to find purpose, we have to listen to ourselves deeply, and we can be inspired by others. And if you ask me my favorite inspiration would be Viktor Frankl, El hombre en busca de sentido, man looking
in search of meaning.
Search of meaning. Okay, so that book, please read it, everyone. We all should read that book. And that's it. We don't need really anything else. That's it. It's got the and also Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Purpose is in the now, is in the presence, is within ourselves. We can jump from one world to another, like in Mario Bros. Yeah, well, live in the now. We do that. We go from world 4 to world 7. It's like a shortcut towards happiness. And Bon Jovi said, living on prayer, that would be the essence of the power of now. Living on prayer. We live on prayer.
A badass song,
I love it.
rock and roll, beautiful.
If we live on prayer, we'll find purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen as a consequence of living on prayer. We don't have to find it. It's just going to happen.
And after, I will share an exercise with our listeners about connecting deeper with their purpose. And thank you so much, Andrea.
We can share also a workbook with some exercises that I can share here. You can send.
Yes.
We have many exercises.
And people can download it in the links of this episode. Thank you so much for your time, for your heart, for your soul, for your purpose. May everyone feel more aligned today with their heart, with their soul, with their purpose, with the meaning of life, with happiness. May each day bring its depth of joy, of beautiful highs, and experience the lows with purpose.
Amen.
Amen. I invite you to invoke to your soul, to your highest self, to the divine in your life. Ask for guidance. Ask for a whisper. Ask to be able to hear, to feel the gentle nudge, the gentle touch of the part of you that wants the greatest growth, the greatest consciousness for you, that knows what is truly, authentically good for you. For a second, decide to release control on your life and ask for guidance. Dear highest self, dear soul, dear beloved, please guide me on this path of life to encounter my true, unique purpose. Feel your divine connection. Breathe deeply, consciously. Deep within your DNA is all the information that you need to know. It is hidden inside of you. The real work is to simply remember who you truly are. The real work is to make room and space between the mind and the heart. Who are you? Who are you meant to become? What kind of guidance are you ready right now to receive from your highest self? What kind of symbol are you willing and ready to see? Remember when you were a child, who did you want to become? Remember, why are you here? The answer may be very simple. Maybe one word, maybe a few words. What did I come to learn on this human journey in this life? What will bring the most growth? Let the answers come to you. Feel. No need for certainty. Intuition, images, symbols, feeling, ideas. What gives you most life? What gives you most passion? What makes you say F yes every day? What makes you want to share yourself with the world? My dear highest self, I am willing to listen to you. What else is possible? How much more love, how much more growth can I experience? Please show me. was always there, lying right in front of you. Others can see it. Can you see it? Your future self comes to tell you a very intimate message, very unique. What does it say? Listen. Who are you? Who will you become? What is the greatest expansion you can dream of? Your heart longs to become. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All your beloved people wishing you one thing. What is it? Feel it, see it, hear it. The person you most admire in life tells you one thing about yourself, one positive thing about your life and your path. What is it? It is time to be fully aligned with your unique, authentic self. No one can be you or do you like you are and like you do. Be all that you can be. Be who you are. Let go of the fear. Let go of the fear. You are divine. You are connected. Yes to life. Yes. Yes to your life purpose. Yes to the life your soul came to experience. You are extraordinary. You are amazing. even become more amazing. Wow. I honor your path. You are courageous. You are powerful. You are inspiring. Let the answers come to you. Who are you, my dear? Let your DNA awaken to its greatest potential. 3-stranded towards 12-stranded DNA. You are holistic. You are whole. In many different dimensions, you are coexisting at the same time. Connect with the parts of you that are pure love, pure energy, pure passion, pure purpose. Let them whisper and talk to you. Answers are deep within. Release the fears. To your full divinity, to being a true creator of your life, of life. Release the fear to fully say yes, yes, I am here, I am life, experiencing itself, yes, 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 yes. And if anything, anyone, any word, any feeling from your highest self, from your future self, from your greatest expression, were able to get to you, even just a tiny bitsy, feel the gratitude for this moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One step at a time. No need for rush, for anxiety, for stress. Purpose is a path. It's a journey. It is not an end goal. Enjoy every step on this journey. Thank you for being you.